Hey, this is Pat Freeman. Hey, and my buddy Chris Stevenson. How you doing, Chris?
What's going on, Patrick?
We're about to do part 2 of our network series, and we are talking about the infamous Bishop Eddie Long and the murder conspiracy and the trial of Dr. Conrad Murray and his involvement with the death of the music legend Michael Jackson. First of all, let's start with Bishop Eddie Long. What is going on with the good bishop?
Well, I saw a story this week where the good bishop now wants his money back. The money from his out-of-court settlement that he was forced to pay,
Right,
somewhere between 15, 25 million or whatever. He now wants a lot of that money back, and I think it's based on the fact that a couple of those guys are now saying they're going to write a book,
right.
or whatever the case may be.
They got in trouble. Was that part? You think there was some language in the agreement not to write a book?
Probably so. You know, there's always a gag order, especially when it comes to religion. Okay, I've seen this with the Catholics, with Jehovah's Witnesses, whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When they got to pay out over sexual abuses and everything, there's always a gag order.
Right.
You know, like nobody knows. Don't let people know we're doing these things. You know. You know. Oh yeah. Let me tell you, rumors spread in religion quicker than wildfire.
Right. Now, he was chastised by his mentor, Bishop Paul Morton, for his conduct, but did he ever receive any form of
No.
sanction or suspension from the church?
You know, to me, the biggest punishment he got was that a few of his members leaving. Okay? And some of them had went to Creflo Dollar's church, and I fault Brother Creflo Dollar for being dumb enough to sit there and say right in the pulpit that, you know, all of those of you who came from Eddie Long's church, you're not welcome here. You know, I don't know what he was smoking. Okay, I don't know what kind of union or ties that these mega church ministers have, but he had no right to say that. These people come to his church because the previous church they had been to was run by a flat out hypocrite. Okay, so they had to go somewhere. So they chose his church. He should be honored that they enter his building. Okay, he should separate himself completely.
Well,
from that,
are you starting to see from these mega churches, Chris, that maybe they stick together as a network of money making,
sure, and
so-called religious leaders? But are these guys moving towards pimphood? I mean, you basically got to call it the way you see it.
You got to call it the way you see it. And see, here's the thing: these mega churches, you talk about money based. When you say a thing like that in front of your congregation, that means you left Jesus a long time ago.
Right.
Okay, you and God are light years apart in more ways than one now. Okay, you are now worshiping that dollar.
Right.
That's all there is. That's all there is to it. So,
was Creflo born Creflo Dollar, or was that a name that was anointed?
That's a good question. It's probably a name. It's probably
okay.
You know, but it's just like Lady Long. Was that his name? You know, this Long Dong or whatever the case may be. Who knows?
Eddie is really creating a series of controversy.
Yeah.
All right, let's move towards our good doctor, Dr. Conrad Murray, the physician playboy.
The good doctor.
What is going on with the good doctor?
The doctor is in the house, okay?
The good doctor, man.
The good doctor, and he's got his Benadryl. What's it called? What's that stuff called?
Propofol.
Propofol with him.
Oh.
And so, don't close your eyes around Dr. Murray.
Oh.
Okay, that's all I can say.
Man.
If you call him, you might want to call a doctor that's farther distance and get better service.
And he's a playboy.
Oh yeah. His playboying does not stop just because you are near death or on your deathbed.
He's giving CPR to Mike, sending text messages. We're gonna meet later.
Yeah, oh yeah. Hey, Now that's hardcore booty calling. That's hardcore booty calling.
We'll be. I'm like, what going on?
Oh yeah.
Are you kidding?
That's right. Understand, you're there you're next to the greatest entertainer in the history of the world. You call yourself trying to keep him alive. Okay? You are his hand-picked personal physician.
Ugh.
All right? So that when this guy is indicating that he is starting to flat scan, you say, hey, look here, what time you want to be tonight?
He's texting girls.
You say, flat scan, let me move these chemicals out of here, all the stuff that I pumped inside of his body. Let me get this stuff out of here and go, and I'm gonna call a couple of people. You know, I'll call his nutritionist. Maybe she's got something to cook for him. I'm gonna call his son. What's his name? Prince. I don't know what I call Prince the singer or Prince his son. I don't know.
He didn't know what
Purple Rain. Let me get the hell out of here.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I can't believe what we're seeing. He attempted to hide the drugs. All right. He didn't call the paramedics in a timely fashion.
No, they call it. No, I don't think that's a timely fashion.
He was already
after you're dead. I don't think that's the time to call the paramedics.
That should have been the first call.
Yes. So, what are we saying here? Those of you who don't really get this, okay, that's first degree murder.
Murder.
That's murder.
Murder.
That's not manslaughter. That's not manslaughter. That's not second degree murder. Get all that out your mind. First degree murder. This man was a patsy for somebody else who wanted Michael dead, and he's not going to be convicted.
Nope.
He's going to walk.
He is going to walk.
Mark my words today.
If he gets a manslaughter conviction, that's a settlement. I'm beginning to lean, Chris, towards this question. Was there an organized conspiracy to kill Michael Jackson, knowing that a dead Michael Jackson presented ultimate amount of money to a recording industry that is in dysfunction because of technology, and that they have made maximum amount of dollar? Have you noticed how many Michael Jackson tunes are used for Halloween, used for various other his music is being sampled everywhere. I mean, everywhere in his death, where this was not necessarily the case when he was living. Was there a conspiracy to kill Michael Jackson?
It's a conspiracy, yes. Dr. Murray needs to fucking fry, and they should get whoever it is who used him and do the exact same thing. There was a conspiracy. If I ever saw it, if I ever heard of it, I will not rest until he's proven wrong. But that's just the way it is. Some things are a no-brainer. That's one of them, and it's right there in front of our eyes. Okay, this man did a very vile thing. Okay, and he knew these things are planned usually months ahead of time.
Right.
And the people who planned this, the real brains behind this, was somebody who didn't. They didn't. This is way before they even included Murray.
Right.
Okay. And like you say, they looked at a lot of things behind it. They looked at the merchandising. They looked at how much money he can make. Okay. Now these are the same people who probably who schemed to make sure Michael's albums, his last few albums, didn't really sell the way they could.
Right.
Okay. Because every time an album came out, Michael always complained. Every time when his new album, History or something, came out, here comes the police wanting to raid his house.
Right. They did everything they could.
One to interrogate him. One to harass him.
Discredit him.
Yeah, discredit him.
Now, one album, Blood on the Dance Floor, they said it didn't sell. It sold 9 million copies. How is an album sell 9 million copies? Not a huge seller.
Yeah, because it's not huge by Michael's standards.
That's right.
That's why. That's the thing. It could have sold 18, 20 million. That's the whole thing.
We're living in a day where CDs are being copied at home.
Right.
I mean, you don't know. He may have sold only 9 million, but there might be 60 to 70 million in people's possessions.
Right.
Because of technology.
Exactly.
This is a scary thought. And I have leaned towards there was a conspiracy to kill the greatest entertainer on earth.
See, here's the thing. If you're black, not to cut you off, if you're black and you're in the entertainment industry and you do good, yeah, the entertainment industry is saying, great, you did good. You went gold, you went platinum, but you can't do but so good. Then they say, wait a minute now, you're doing too good.
Right.
When you're doing too good means you are starting to become a legend over the established white entertainers.
Right.
That they hold these people dearly. The Beatles, Elvis. The Beatles and Elvis look minuscule to me next to Mike, and I love the Beatles. Okay, I used to buy some of their albums. But next to Michael, how do they look in your eyes if Michael owns them?
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
He owned
the Beatles. And it's an afterthought that he owned Elvis. The king.
The king.
Okay? So how do these people look now? So these powers that be got a problem. They said, "Oh, this guy's going to come. He's going to be number one." I watched the VH1, the greatest. I think the 100 greatest entertainers.
Right.
Every few years they run these.
Right.
And I think they put Michael number 2 and the Beatles number 1, something like that. But they just did that.
Right.
All right. And one guy he kind of explained. He says, "Yeah, we know. We were told by P. Diddy and all these other black entertainers that it's Michael, but we're just going to put the Beatles number 1."
Please.
Okay. So
not even close. Not even close.
No.
This man changed the industry from a vantage. He was so far ahead of his time with his music videos, production, concerts. He was this guy was just a genius, incredible genius. And most geniuses are kind of introverted when they're not performing.
They're introverted and they have trouble. Black geniuses get trouble from the industry.
Right.
And I'm going to name a handful. Okay? I'm going to name Ronald Isley. Okay? I'm going to name Isaac Hayes.
Right.
Okay? I'm going to name Quincy Jones. I'm going to name Ray Charles. Okay? I'm going to name Little Richard, James Brown. Okay?
Yep, James Brown.
I'm saying most of these guys that I just named
controlled their own music. You nailed it.
Yeah. Controlled their own music. Master tape. Ray Charles the first one, not just the first black artist, but the first artist to own his own master tapes.
Right.
That's unheard of.
Right.
So now they were thinking about that back then.
Right.
Oh, these we can't let them do this.
And many did not as great as George Clinton is. He was not as good a businessman as Michael Jackson.
Right.
Ray Charles,
right,
and the others that own their own music.
Right, but it's bigger genius than the other ones. I forgot to mention George Clinton.
Right.
But you're right. Same thing. Same category. And I don't think it wasn't.
Rick James was a genius. Controlled his own music.
Controlled his own music.
Rick James,
only done it by his habit.
That's his problem.
That's his problem. But see, Rick James is of the school of. We should be able to do the same thing white people do. No, you can't.
No.
You can't do that. So people who fight for that. And I think with George Clinton, it wasn't that he was such a bad businessman. The courts just decided we aren't going to side with you.
Right.
We are not going to take your side. Okay? Because George is a G. George had 4, 5, 6 different groups.
Man.
Different labels. He had contracts with several major record labels.
You didn't know what group George was in. Is he a Funkadelic? He was in the Parliament? Was he with Bootsy Rubber Band?
Right.
But George was a genius.
He was a genius.
He needed to be somewhere along the line. The paperwork wasn't as tight as the Ray Charleses and those guys.
No.
But Ray Charles, once he got that deal to control his own music, it was done.
Yeah.
It was done.
Yeah.
It was done. Businessman.
Oh, yeah. And not that cut you off. What did they do to Ray Charles? They banned him from his own state.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? State of Georgia. They banned him from Georgia because he took that, especially he took that one stand that he was not going to go along and perform while those people are out there protesting.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to be singing no Hit the Road Jack and that all you white people love to hear, and you up there beating up on my people.
Right.
That's a common sense decision.
Segregated theaters.
Right. There's no white person that would go for that.
No.
But they expect us to.
Right.
See, that's the whole thing. But that's white supremacy.
Well, we at the end of the network for this segment. This segment was on the infamous Bishop Eddie Long and Dr. Conrad Murray and the possible conspiracy to murder the greatest entertainer in the world, Michael Jackson.
Fry Conrad.
Fry Conrad.
Fry.
We'll be back here next week right here
Fry
on the
Troy
network.
Davis.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week here on the network.